start off with the S13 swap. I'm using S14 tension rod brackets and S13 lower control arms. Just getting some of these painted up because they don't look too good. Doesn't have to be perfect, just looks a little better than this is the kind of dry one here. Looks pretty good, much better than that. Got the other bracket up hanging here. So kind of just putting stuff together. I've got each knuckle, backing plate, rotor, hub, caliper, bracket, and pads. And I've got my S13 inners, Ford Escort outers, and some adjustable S13 tension rods, some miscellaneous stuff here, and some pretty used lowering S13 coils. I'm not going to stick with that for too long because they're pretty beat up, but it's going to work in the meantime, and I'm really excited to get started. Ho ho ho! Okay, so I proceeded to take pretty much everything off. It's actually pretty interesting how this mounts to the hub. Right here is what I was talking about, but we have the lower arm hanging down. I took off the tension rod bracket just to see if the holes or whatever I need to extend. Took off the bushings here, and I'm about to take off this inner. Luckily, I do have some tools, just gotta find the right size and then take it off with a 1/2 inch, and then I can get to this nut easier, and then it's gonna be bolting stuff up. This guy is a 1 7/16 inch. This fit the inner quite perfect. This was really tough to get out. I don't think it's ever been changed, but with the right tools and space, you should be able to pop it off. So while I'm in here, I figured I might as well clean it up, so I'm just using a nice can of brake clean and giving everything a spray down that has never been able to get clean. Looking much cleaner. Okay, so in order to mount the S14 tension rod bracket, which I checked and it looks like these holes line up and this one might be off a tiny bit, but it's kind of rough with the sway bar here, so I'm going to drop it on the other side and mount up the bracket. You might not need to do that, it doesn't matter, but these two holes line up, this hole lines up, this one is the one that you have to extend. So I'm just going to use a paint pen and kind of mark out where I need to go. I just wanted to show you guys exactly what I'm doing in more depth. So I mounted this up and used a paint pen to mark where I need to extend, and I'm using this bit to round it out, and that's all. All right, the S14 bracket is mounted up. I just had to extend that hole right there. Definitely don't have to cut that, that's my bad. You have to extend it a good bit, but I'm glad I got 2 bolts on that side, so we'll start mounting up like the lower arm and stuff like that next. S13 adjustable tie rod in, S13 lower control arm, S13 ball joint. And now we will probably bolt on the tie rod. Okay, so the Ford Escort outer S13 inner looks like it's gonna work great. I still have another inch of threads to put this in and a lot to come out. Inner went right in, so that is awesome. Let's get to maybe putting the hub on or the coils, so we'll see. Okay, don't forget to put your boot on before you have the end on, and if you don't have a metal tie, just use a zip tie and make sure it's real tight. All right, so we got the knuckle mounted up to the tie rod and the lower arm. Now I'm gonna throw in the coil and The sway bar is not mounted up yet. I'm gonna do that last. All right, so it was kind of a tight fit up in here, but I angled it a certain way where it can spin around a little bit, and I was able to get this facing the knuckle, and oop, grease is leaking out. Gross. Gross. So yeah, all I have to do is swap brake lines on this side, and then do an alignment, major alignment. And actually, I think I need to tighten these up still, but cotter pins, etc., stuff like that. We'll see how low she goes. Okay, so the wheel is not bolted on currently, and it's not on its own weight, so it's down a lot, but that is like much more angle than I've ever had just from using stock S13 stuff. So that's awesome. Okay, so we are pretty much done with one side. I'm gonna move on to the next side so we can get on to the brake lines, a quick brake flush, and an alignment. Okay, so I got both sides done. Brake lines are swapped over. The last thing I need to do is gonna be the sway bar, but everything is looking good. I got a wheel mounted up. I might have to run my stock wheels. I was gonna run some different fronts, but the angle is so absurd. Like, watch this. Okay. So, looks rad, but that's a problem. Next thing I need to do is bleed the brakes real quick. I'm just gonna gravity bleed, let her drip. Do not forget your cotter pins.